Hello my friends, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, January 7th, 2020. This is Jennifer. Surprise! As you can see, cut my hair. I actually did this on Saturday and I haven't mentioned it all online because I wanted to surprise you guys today. Today's video is going to be mostly a retrospective of the stuff I made last year. I've been trying to keep an ongoing album when I finish things so that I find them all at the end of the year. So that's going to be at the end of the video, but the first thing I wanted to share with you guys is that I have a couple of goals for this year. I'm not going to really do a to-do list so much, but one of the things I really want to do is, and I've mentioned this previously, I want to kind of diversify my volunteering and my charity efforts. And so number one, the very first thing I did is I donated my hair to a charity for making wigs for children with cancer. It's called the Pink Heart Fund. It was recommended to me by a friend who's actually met one of the ladies who is part of that organization. I donated 11 inches of hair and then had about another 3 cut off to style my hair as you see it now. There are 2 reasons I did this. One, I've actually been thinking about donating my hair for a long time, but also I started growing my color out at the end of last year and I figured this would be an easy way to get my natural color back without having like 90% of it being not my natural colors. This is actually the second time I've donated hair over the years, and my daughter's done it as well, and it always feels quite good to know that all of the years of maintaining and taking care of long hair can go to help someone else who needs a wig, and it's just a good feeling. It also makes it way easier to go in and have a big chop. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is also another opportunity to do something good. I'm sure you all are aware of the fires that are happening in Australia. Hardhat Cat, who has been a part of our community in the past but is now the mom of 4 kids and still works as an engineer, she does not make videos very often anymore because she just really doesn't have time. But she years ago hooked us up with an organization called Oz Comfort Quilts, and this is from the 2009 bushfires, I think is when they first set up, and they take quilt-as-you-go squares, like string-pieced ones, and they take quilt tops, completed quilts, they take crochet and knitted squares, I believe, and then Afghans as well. So I have pledged myself to make 2 quilts for them out of orphan blocks. As you guys know, I have a ton of orphan blocks. I might see if one of the quilt tops I've made at my retreat with my Sandbox sisters in the fall, if one of those will work, and if it will not, then I'll go through and I'll make a new one. And in that vein, I want to invite you guys to also share. Make a donation to the Red Cross or to any of the good organizations that are helping the firefighters and the families that have lost their homes, the organizations that are helping the animals. Just like hundreds of thousands of animals have died. They're thinking maybe entire species have been wiped out. We have a lot of crafty friends over in Australia, designers from Fandom and Stitches. Some of our moderators are from Australia. There are so many people that we know that are affected or know someone who's affected or whatever, and just anything you can do to help, it would be amazing. But I'm a quilter, and so I am going to quilt, and like I said, I've pledged to make 2 quilts. If you're in the US and you want to send me your quilt blocks, I can either use them in a quilt or I can send them on. I did talk to Jan from Oz Comfort Quilts briefly, and she said they will take orphan blocks, so I may include some of my giant collection of orphan blocks in addition to making quilts, because having volunteered for an organization like the Linus Connection for as long as I have, I know like orphan blocks help and quilt tops help. Finished quilts help more because they're not additional work for the volunteers. So I'm going to try to get 2 finished quilts sent off to Oz Comfort Quilts, and I will also send them orphan blocks if I have them. So if you guys want to contribute and want to send orphan blocks my way, I will include those in my package. Australian shipping from the US is quite expensive, so if that's out of your reach, send it to me. I'll put it in my package. I made a fair chunk of change from closing the Sewhooked shop in December. A lot of you did some really good shopping, so I'm happy to put some of that towards shipping to get these quilts to Australia. Last thing before we go into the 2019 retrospective, you may have already noticed that I am wearing my sweater from the thrift store. I removed the neck of the sweater. This is the one that had the big sort of cowl turtleneck, and I just picked out the stitches because the neck and the sweater were two different pieces. The way I ended up finishing it was super, super simple. I used gray thread and I just stitched down all the little ends, like wherever the seams met, there were little, just like knitted, tied off knitted threads, and I went back and tied all those little yarn bits down. And there was one spot where I cut the knitting when I was ripping the seams out, and I went back and repaired that. And so this is actually the second time I've worn it. I really like it. It's super comfortable, and I like it way better without the giant neck. So that is going to be all for me, but not all for the video. I have an entire retrospective. This is everything that I finished in 2019. I did not include quilts that I quilted for other people because I don't consider those my finishes. Those are things I did for other people. I also did not include all of the quilts and Afghans and whatnot that you guys sent me for the Linus connection. Those are not my finishes, so those are not in there as well. And there were a lot of them. I'm gonna put a number in at the end so you can see how many I donated and how many I received through the mail and from other people handing me things that needed to be turned in. So I'm really pleased with those because all of those people were Talk to Me Tuesdayers or friends on Facebook or friends on Instagram, and you guys, everyone, every single quilt in Afghan matters. They all matter. It's cumulative, and just one might put us over to make sure that one kid gets the blanket that they need to help them go through whatever it is that they're going through. Enjoy the slideshow, and there's a little video in here too. You guys have a wonderful week. Have a crafty week, and I will see you next week. Bye.